and welcome everybody to this webinar. And we are going to talk about the actual status of the art of log management and SIEM solution inside SOC and MSSP with challenges and solution. A brief introduction of our company. SecureGate is a European company based in Italy. We develop a security solution, mostly log manager, SIEM, and SOAR platform. We are in the market by more than 15 years, and our solution extend from SME to enterprise market. What we focus on in Europe is safeguarding logs for compliance and also empower security operation teams to properly leverage these logs and events to monitor detection and then response. We are very proud of our technology that is 100% developed in-house. So we do have a very active roadmap where we can customize the solution based on the customer need. Our headquarters, as said, is in Milano, in Italy, and we have also remote offices in Middle East and Asia. And our market overall covers Europe, Southeastern Europe, Africa, Middle East, and Asia. Let's jump into the topic of today, that is redefining the SOC visibility in the age of infinite logs. This is a very critical point because with the cyber threats increasing every day and the number of application, internal, external, cloud, every day increasing, a company is no more like 10, 20 years ago where you just have few network devices, workstation, and servers, but is a much more, let's say, differentiated type of infrastructure. Most of the time hybrid, on-premise, cloud, SaaS. So this is a big, it adds complexity to how the SOC can handle this amount of data and handle the visibility and create meaningful detection out of them. What are the problems that we wanted to solve with GroundSOC? So we see the market going into the direction where most of the log manager SIEM solution are basing their licensing in events per second or based on data volume. So this is a big problem because the amount of data for sure is not going to be less and is increasing every day. And so the bill for the SIEM solution can become a very relevant cost point for your budget. So in this case, we wanted to find an alternative solution to make this point less painful for the enterprises. And we will see for each of these points how we address and we found a solution. Also, scaling the hardware is a more and more complex problem because the more data, the more hardware you want. So if the SIEM solution is already starting with some heavy hardware requirement, is not going to be better after that you have an increase of logs. Also, long-term vendor lock-in. The moment that you move to a subscription-based model, vendors are also applying some not initially clear constraint, like for example, if you want to access your logs that are compressed in your hard disk, you need our key And we can also decrypt, we can only decrypt your logs if you use our platform. So this is a behavior that is not frequently advertised, and we do suggest our customer to always ask their SIEM vendor to how will that work if I want to move out my logs to another platform. And unfortunately, good amount of time, the answer is you cannot, because you can only open the logs with our platform. From operational point of view, we see that the overall SIEM technology push the SOC to limit the visibility. So again, due to pricing and hardware scaling, the SOC is required to cherry pick what logs to onboard, and that is a problem for the detection, because yes, you should not onboard all the logs without a clear path, but at the same time, you really need some logs, and some of these logs are very verbose. So we need to solve this problem. Also, the ingestion bottleneck, again related to hardware and licensing. It's a problem, and also what we found to be a challenge is needed to triage manually the alerts, and that workflow somehow is not well defined. So it's very cumbersome for the analyst to manage the alert and kind of being able to fully adhere with the corporate workflow for incident management. Going to resilient gaps, what we saw is that more and more threat actors are using the technique of disabling or cutting the connectivity or the access to security solution while they are attacking their target. And so here we have a problem that if your SIEM is in the cloud, if there is any network outage, let's say accidental or on purpose established by the attacker, you lose visibility. You have no more access to your logs in the very moment where you really need that visibility to understand what is going on. So yes, our solution is also cloud hosted, but we do suggest seeing recent compromise attack to have at least a copy or a hybrid model where you have your logs also on premise. Another big challenge, very big challenge, is the moment that you need to switch to disaster recovery environment. We saw some SIEM solutions that do not allow an easy switch. So the SOC needs to act manually sometimes to move from production to disaster recovery, and that might imply even hours of activities, manual activities, to make able the analyst to access again the platform. And in some cases, you have new logs. You don't have the previous logs available in a disaster recovery environment. So these are all very important aspects that in a critical environment, in a critical situation, you need to consider, because if everything is good in normal period, of course, production will work, everybody is working properly, but when something fails, then what happened? And this is where having a transparent automated failover really helps. And then availability of all the different components of the log management and the SIEM solution are very important to avoid stop of visibility in case of a hardware malfunction. Let's go on each of these points and let's see how do we solve this point. So in terms of cost, the licensing, we see that the customer might go into unpredictable costs when the licensing is based on volume or events per second. So, and especially if is a cloud SIEM solution, cloud native SIEM solution, then your monthly bill is very difficult to predict. And also on premise, we have the same problem. So how do we solve that with GroundSOC? So first of all, we offer a all-you-can-ingest type of pricing. So we don't base our pricing on volume or EPS, but on log sources. So it's very clear for the customer how much is going to spend, no matter how many logs you are going to ingest in GroundSOC. So this is how we approach this type of challenge. And usually procurement is very keen on this type of model because subscription are not the preferred one, especially when the amount is not clearly predefined. When cloud goes down, as we said, the SOC goes blind. So in this case, you might breach regulatory requirement, or just you might not be able to do your job with detection and monitoring. So in GroundSOC, our preferred deployment is on-premise, but we do support the hybrid model where we have part of the cluster on-premise, part of the cluster in cloud, and in this case, we increase the availability and we reduce the possibility of going dark in the most important moment. Vendor lock-in. So we mentioned our data is your data, meaning that yes, we take care of it for you. We encrypt in our platform, but the encryption keys are with the customer. So in any moment, you can copy this data, export this data wherever you want. Not only this, but we do offer the possibility to forward our raw logs to any other third-party platform. So there are multiple ways. The system is very flexible, but the main point is customer has full data ownership. Okay, this is very important. You need to demand this to any of the log manager or SIEM vendor because that is your data. You don't want to be caught into a situation where you want to change a SIEM solution and you cannot, because for compliance, you cannot lose like last 1 or 2 years of data. So you are forced to stay at the same time, maybe for 2 years with 2 different SIEM solutions, not to breach compliance. So yes, we provide hybrid resilient architecture with unlimited data injection. This is very one of the very important proposal of GroundSOC. We deployed GroundSOC in many different type of environment. And we found it very ideal for all the on-premise environment and especially air-gapped network. So classified network where you don't have any internet access. Even there you can deploy GroundSOC with no internet connectivity. So that also works well for OT environment where you need to monitor everything that goes happen inside the OT environment, but you don't have that public internet connectivity to export the data to a cloud, or even for compliance, you don't want to do that. So we are particularly suited for critical infrastructure and anything that requires a strict compliance requirements. In terms of architecture, as we said, we can be 100% on-premise. We can give full control to the customer with no cloud dependencies, but if needed, we can be hybrid. So also our architecture use a cluster-based architecture, so we increase performance, we increase redundancy with the cluster, and let's say we can provide the most cost-effective architecture for our customers to manage the data. We also provide the entire infrastructure as a container. That means that we can unlimitedly scaling horizontally and vertically. You can either increase the performance and the resources of the single virtual machine in the node, or you can add more node to the cluster. Both the solutions are possible, and is very important because you are not restricted to a specific hardware. So if your amount of logs increase, you can very easily and also dynamically, if you use a containerized infrastructure, expand and restrict the resources as per their need. So there is no waste of resources, and you always have the right amount to handle the amount of logs in a fast and performing way. Last but not the least, we are multi-tenant by design. So we do offer GroundSOC on enterprises that have maybe multiple brand, multiple network to control, or to MSSP, because for them is for sure a mandatory requirement in terms of multi-tenancy, segregation of customer data. Here we have an example of performance of GroundSOC, and this is a big differentiator with our competitor, and this is usually what our customer see as a first benefit during deployment, also during POC. So first of all, we handle your logs, and we usually apply an average of 10x log compression. That means that if we receive 10 gigabytes of incoming logs, at the end you will need only 10 gigabytes of storage to store the log. So that's very important because it increases speed, but also save you a cost for a bigger storage and all the maintenance that is related to the storage. So compression is a big factor of our solution. As well as we have very performing indexing engine. So not only the ingestion will be fast and scale, but also the searches of the analyst will be extremely performing. So in this case, our indexing with only adding a small amount of storage, we will be able to save RAM memory from the resources and increase the speed of the queries. So all of this to say that GroundSOC require very low resources and is designed to scale. So as you see on the right side, this is our basic cluster. So this is a cluster of 3 nodes, and each node has 16 GB of RAM and 12 cores. And these are really very basic requirements if you think about a classic SIEM solution. But this basic cluster allow us to handle usually up to 300,000 events per second. So you could relate this benchmark with other vendor, and you can see that it's a great achievement because it's really very fast solution, and this has a big benefit because you can start small with a small architecture, and you can dynamically increase it as per the need. So we do kind of push the customer to try our POC because you are able to immediately identify the benefit of the platform. From enrichment point of view, we do the enrichment while we ingest the logs. This is very important because being able to enrich IP addresses, geolocation on events also allow you to create custom rule on event using the enrichment values. And one of the, I will say, unique capability of GroundSOC is that, for example, we also enrich the events with the autonomous system detail. And that implies that in some type of attacks where, for example, you have an attack spreading across multiple source public IP of the threat actor, you might not see a pattern from the IPs. While if you are able to aggregate and visualize the attack from autonomous system point of view, you might see that all the attacks are coming from different IPs, maybe different geolocation, but all from the same autonomous system. And that allow the analyst to being able to immediately identify and contain by autonomous systems. So that is usually a very appreciated capability for analysts because it's really very useful in terms of visibility in the dashboard of real-time monitoring. Coming to the dashboard, yes, is very helpful to be able to ingest logs to create correlation rule, but there is nothing like having a good dashboard that you can see in real time on the screen, because some attacks are visible by visual pattern. So being able to have a dashboard in front of the analyst is, we found to be one of the most effective solution to identify anomalies and kind of promptly address a cyber attack. So usually we see that in the SOC or in the MSSP, there are these big screen with video wall with many fancy dashboard and lot of maps with attacks, etc. And yeah, these are okay. They are useful even for, let's say, show that something is going on. But we wanted to move that to the next level where these dashboards are really useful for daily real-time monitoring activities. So our dashboard are totally customizable, and you can really add very granularly all the details that you want for your specific use case. Last but not the least, the entire platform is API ready. That means that our data, again, is your data. We can not only forward outside the data, but you can also query the data from other platforms. So total visibility and availability of the data from third-party platform. Cost and licensing. So coming back to the previous challenge, our pricing is based on log sources. That means that it's simple and predictable. You can add as many collectors as you want. The licensing is not based on collector because we do want the customer to segregate, to plan the collector properly. There is no point on having only one log collector when usually having a multi-log collector strategy is the best. So select collector for each area of your network or for each type of data, and that will simplify your management, the maintenance, and reduce the risk in case of that collector goes down. Of course, not of course, because most of our competitor let you pay for each cluster in your nodes, each node on your in your cluster. We don't. You can add as many cluster nodes as you want. The license will not change at all. So again, this is very useful for Kubernetes containerized environment where you need to dynamically create and delete nodes based on resource requirement. Subscription or perpetual license, you can choose based on customer preference, procurement preference. We do want to offer both the option to the end user at the most convenient pricing. Then we don't have only benefits of cost based on license, but of course the cost also comes, the cost benefit comes from less hardware requirement as well as storage requirement. So also we recommend always when you create, for example, a tender for a new log manager or SIEM solution, do pretend from the different vendors to provide also a clear quantification and hardware requirement, because that for you is a cost. So not only licensing, but sometimes we see that the hardware costs are higher than the licensing with some other vendors. So always be careful, because the licensing can be small, but then the hardware will be your biggest cost. And yeah, storage cost, we roughly apply 10x raw log compression. And all our pricing are transparent, so you will not have, let's say, complication on that type of initial pricing requirement. That also means that if you ask our partner about a quote, you will get it very easily. We do not ask our potential customer to fill this very lengthy spreadsheet, okay, with all the different type of technical details about log sources, how many firewalls do we have, which brand, which version. This for us is a kind of very useless in terms of initial pricing, because these data are confidential. Your security and technology stack is a very confidential information, and we do recommend not to share it with vendors in a phase during an initial phase of quote request. So the point is, we should be able to give you a quotation without these details, and that's what we do. So it's very important to understand this, because when we ask for log sources is only when you ask us to quantify the hardware resources required for the implementation. Then either you give us the number of logs, event per second, or if you don't know that, you give us the type of resource that you have, and we will give you, based on average numbers, what is the expected traffic to reaching the log manager. This will also facilitate the POC phase, because we provide a simple virtual machine that you can deploy in few minutes, literally, and then our technical onboarding team will support during the onboarding of usually up to 10 log sources, and you can ingest also the most verbose one, like firewall. We don't really matter for the POC, neither for the future license, and we also allow you to forward these logs to your external SIEM solution or data platform. GroundSOC is, yes, a SIEM solution, but we also do provide GroundSOC only as a log manager. So a frequent implementation of GroundSOC is as a log manager, where maybe the customer cannot immediately cancel their actual SIEM's license, because maybe it's a multi-year license. So what we do is we put GroundSOC as a log manager, and that will allow savings in the logs, because we can filter and send to the SIEM solution only specific events. So you will still comply with regulation, because we store all the logs, but your SIEM licensing will be much cheaper, because you can reduce the number of EPS that reach the SIEM solution. So we want freedom and flexibility for our customers. So no vendor lock-in, as we said, your logs are always yours. We provide multi-forwarding to any SIEM or third-party solution of the events and the raw logs. We will also very soon allow the export of the data also to external third-party data lakes. And also we have a modular type of implementation, so you can decide anytime, for example, if you have the log management license, to move to the SIEM solution license just with a click, and you will get all the new capabilities. Very important is our logs are encrypted and are forensically safe. That means that we are able to identify if some logs are compromised, are forged, or altered in time. And big advantage, we are fully on-premise or cloud-hosted or hybrid as per the requirement. All of this increase the visibility and the use cases that your SOC can implement, because of course being able to ingest logs, even verbose one, increase your capability of detect suspicious or malicious event, and at the same time let you run threat hunting campaign in a very effective way for long time in the past. So this is an important point, because it lets you search for IOC even in long period on a big amount of data. And you can do that on IT and OT environment at the same time. So GroundSOC deliver freedom, performance, scalability, cost efficiency, and kind of change the average SIEM market, because we do want to solve and make our customer having a good monitoring and detection capability. Just a quick summary of the differences of some of our features, and especially to differentiate GroundSOC, that is our enterprise solution, with SGBox, that is our SME platform. So the main difference is the cluster model. So GroundSOC use a cluster model with unlimited nodes, and we do support data lake, log forwarding, and AI capabilities that will come very soon. Multi-tenant is across all our solution, and then SIEM and SOAR are, of course, there, but GroundSOC has additional visibility feature for the analyst in an enterprise environment. What is important from licensing, we said yes, is not based on EPS and volume, and especially we have a flat tiers. So as you can see, we have a few tiers in our plan based on number of log sources, starting from 1,000 log sources. And for log source, we mean one workstation is a log source, one server is a log source, one firewall is a log source. So these allow you to ingest different type of log source without thinking about your licensing. And yeah, as we said, unlimited collector and unlimited cluster nodes, these are very important for the entire licensing plan. Difference between GroundSOC Premium and Ultimate. Very easily, Premium is the log manager capability that let you ingest, extract log, forward, and search for logs, while the Ultimate is the SIEM and SOAR capability where you can correlate and identify specific pattern, respond, and automate your entire detection and response capability with a specific alert management and incident management platform. For this, I will say that I complete my presentation, and I think, Andrei, we can now open the floor for questions, if any. Otherwise, thank you everybody for your time.
Thank you, Riccardo. As I see, no additional questions in the chat.
Perfect. Then thank you so much, and I wish everybody a nice day. And thank you very much for Softprom for organizing this event. And see you the next time.
Thank you, Riccardo.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, colleagues. Bye-bye.